The bald eagle. The national bird of the United States, this majestic raptor adorns our currency, official seals, and holds a significant place in the religious ceremonies of our First Nations. One of the largest predatory birds in North America, what could possibly draw them to America's largest city? Are they really as intimidating and dangerous as they appear? And how do we live alongside them? I've made it my mission to find out. This is Wild New York. My name is Ben, and I'm an amateur naturalist and animal lover.
Developing a real talent for this. White-tailed deer.
Join me and my friend Katie as we journey around New York City and learn a little bit more about the wildlife that shares our home.
Bald eagles are one of the most immediately recognizable birds in the world. In fact, they're as iconic as the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State Building. And while these big birds may not want to see their name in lights, they're not intimidated by them either. In fact, prior to being overrun by concrete and steel, the island of Manhattan seems almost tailor-made for these creatures.
The bald eagle is a sea eagle, nesting and hunting near lakes, rivers, and oceans. Young and adolescent bald eagles look similar to golden eagles and don't begin sporting their signature white plumage until their 4th or 5th year. Their bodies are typically between 28 to 40 inches, with a wingspan between 6 and 7.5 feet. Females are larger, as is typical with birds of prey, and average 12 pounds, whereas the males average around 9 pounds. Although they prefer fish and waterfowl, bald eagles won't shy away from small mammals, carrion, and secondary kills. Bald eagles have been seen following brown bears and other predators to scavenge off their hunts, and the feasts after salmon spawning are well documented. Their practice of stealing prey from other predators, called kleptoparasitism, is a signature behavior of adult bald eagles.
In New York City, bald eagles are most frequently seen along the Hudson River. Cleaner than at any point in the last 100 years, bald eagles can be found along the Hudson River Valley from Albany all the way down to Riverside Park on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. And while they're frequently seen perched in the treetops, they're more commonly spotted soaring high on their powerful wings.
Bald eagles love to ride thermal convection currents, pillars of warm air that rise up high into the sky. These pockets are produced by the sun, allowing them to spend lazy afternoons soaring high and scouting for prey. Although they cannot match the golden eagle's flight speed, their ability to soar lets them reach diving speeds of nearly 100 miles per hour, and their maneuverability is second to none. Bald eagles will harry other predators in flight to steal their meal, and have been observed snatching prey birds in mid-flight. Ben Franklin actually detested the selection of the bald eagles as our national bird. Its behavior as a kleptoparasite and the ease with which other smaller birds can chase them off made them a bird of bad moral character, according to a letter he wrote to his daughter.
Bald eagles rarely pick a fight they can't win. Although they've been observed hunting raccoons, lambs, and even adult beavers, they generally prefer to overmatch their prey in both size and speed. As poachers and carrion eaters, scarce winter climes breed a lot of interspecies competition, leading younger, more adventurous birds to seek out territory farther away from older and craftier eagles. And where better to land than a city surrounded by small mammals, rivers, and the ocean?
The bald eagle is one of our greatest conservation success stories. First protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty of 1918, then by the Bald and Golden Eagle Protection Act approved in 1940 to protect both species from commercial trapping and killing nationwide. During the 1950s, there were only 412 nesting pairs observed in the lower 48 states, and the bald eagle was declared an endangered species in 1967. The most significant factor in their recovery was the banning of the chemical pesticide DDT in 1972 in the US and in 1989 in Canada.
Many birds of prey suffered from the scourge of DDT. Although adult birds were seldom directly killed or poisoned, the accumulation of the chemical in both prey animals and the water supply led to sterility in males and a calcium deficiency in females. This deficiency led to thinner eggshells that were unable to support the weight of a brooding adult. Entire generations of birds were lost.
Biomagnification, the ripple effect of toxins entering the food web, teaches us the importance of conservation generally. Thanks to the work of scientists, politicians, and everyday citizens, the bald eagle populations are thriving. In 1995, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service reclassified bald eagles from endangered to threatened, and in 2007, they were delisted entirely. With their populations back to full strength, let's go see if we can find some in the wild.
Today we'll be taking a walk through Greenwood Cemetery. Known as one of New York City's birding hotspots, you can see a little bit of everything here, from groundhogs and turtles to great horned owls and bald eagles. Let's go see what we can find.
Greenwood Cemetery had its fair share of treasures, like these red-eared sliders, a double-crested cormorant diving for a meal, and the striking red of the northern cardinal. But it wasn't long before we found the crown jewel of this historic landmark.
So it's a little hard to see, but I'm going to try to spin you around because we have found one of the bald eagles that lives in Greenwood Cemetery, R7, sometimes known as Rover.
Despite no longer being endangered, bald and golden eagles are still protected by law, with penalties as high as $80,000 for their disturbance or the damaging of their nests. If you want to see bald eagles, be sure to bring a long camera lens or binoculars, and make sure to maintain a safe and respectful distance at all times.
Like the humpback whales of the New York Bight, the bald eagles of New York City skies are an immaculate symbol of our ability to change course and preserve our biodiversity for the future. The temptation will always exist to take shortcuts, move fast, and break our way to an easier life. But this is the only planet we've got, and we've all got to do our part to make sure that our biome stays a little bit greener. Always remember, whenever you're observing wildlife, make sure you maintain a safe and respectful distance. Never feed wildlife, and if you pack it in, pack it out, and make sure to properly dispose of your trash. If you follow these steps, we'll be leaving a New York City full of wildlife for future generations, and make sure the Big Apple stays a wild New York.